What's up, y'all? So, I'm tired. I was going to lay down and take a nap, but I got this video that I said I was going to do. So, and I recorded one yesterday, which I may or may not post. But I'm just thinking a lot about, you know, the signs, the times, and just rapture season and all that stuff. And just really like the sovereignty of God and how there's just an inherent controversy in any decision that God makes because he has to make the decision. And it just, he's God, he's the God. And um, he's got to decide, um, you know, the time. It's like this person lives, this person dies. We're cool with him doing the seasons and the day and the night, and then obviously make sure that the sun stays in the sky, like all the good stuff, all the stuff we don't want to handle, like the winds and the waves, thanks Jesus or whatever. And then normal day, normal day, normal day, and then every once in a while you get a hurricane, you get a flood, your stuff gets wiped out, and you just sort of cross your fingers and you know play the lottery, and praise the Lord, and just be relieved when it's not you. And when it is you, you're just relieved that you um, survived and that no one was hurt and whatever. And then maybe if someone was hurt, or you did lose somebody, or you lost your dog or whatever, it's just like, you God takes you through it and you have peace, and because it's got to happen to somebody. And um, people sort of think that they are earning some sort of brownie points when they question that, and they don't just go along willingly with that, and they just go there. That's messed up. They're like, no, I don't like that, and they don't realize, they think that it could be better than that. It's like, why are we going through that at all? And to a degree, they have a point, just in the sense of like, we're all sort of uh, oriented towards perfection and not feeling these sort of tragedies and sorrows. But most of us are still mature, and we have enough goodness in us to see the benefit and what it does to, when you're sick for a long time, and then that first day that you're not sick, and you are able to, you get up and you take a shower and it's the best shower you've ever had, and you get up and you eat an orange and it's the best orange you've ever had. It's the same stuff that it was the day before, but suddenly it's you get this new death. So most of us have lived long enough to sort of see the benefit in that. Um, and then, but some people just still insist that it's just too much. And I think as civilization goes on, and we go through less and less highs and lows, there's no famines, there's no, freaking dust storms or anything, the bugs came and ate the crops or what. It's like all of that stuff has been really regulated. And so when we go through anything, we are just at 10 automatically. I just see the racism that, people continue to, it just makes it funny that you ever thought that people were ever going to let this go. Like, in order for racism to go away completely, like, you have to decide to stop participating. And uh, nobody is doing that. Like, so it's just weird to see, like, how I mean, it was okay in the 90s. You got a couple of things here and there. And now I feel legit saying the 90s because it was really like 30 years ago. It's like that's a real time period now. That's a real, there's no biases there. That's a closed thing that we can now evaluate and look at. And yeah, I mean, it happened, but and you hear a lot of people like from any time period be like, yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, some stuff happened, but it wasn't like, everybody feels that way about how they grew up, kind of. So which to me speaks of just our own human ability to sort of acclimate and just sort of, find that, how water finds the level. So that's what we're going to do. So people who are focusing on the ism on the outside, either they're doing that on purpose to make money or get everybody riled up, or they're genuinely not, falling for some flim flam. I can't, if society were to go on another 30 years, which is not, but if it were, it would be really interesting to see what people would call racism in the 2050s. I just can't imagine, because they're going to do that. They would find a way, um, but it's just not going to be whatever. But it's just like to see now, like the fact that anybody can complain about racism is the most insane thing to me. Like, it's the most insane thing I've ever seen, to see this thing be kept alive. It's like when I was growing up, it was being kept alive, and it was like the people would fan the flames, and you'd be like, "No, why are you fanning these flames? It was almost out. What are you doing?" And now it's like, "Oh wow, it died, and then you exhumed it, and then you rose it back up, and then you extracted the DNA from it, and then you made a clone, and now racism is as strong as it was in like 18 whatever, like right before Reconstruction. It's like, oh, okay, so y'all are just going to keep doing this was never meant to get solved, then, is what you're telling me. So, but it's just profound to me. Like, I can't tell you how many times that I've looked around in society and just been like, look, wow, like it has just gotten so more diverse and accepting than I would have ever imagined, and low key, like, more than I'd be comfortable with. It's like, y'all just out here living together, ain't you? Like, it's amazing. Way, way more than it ever was in a society that I grew up in. People are still mad, you guys. They're still mad. So I don't know why I said all that. I got on a rabbit hole tangent, but I'm just saying, like, um, there are just some parts of existing that, um, are going to sort of get in your crawl. They're going to offend you. They're going to offend your ego and your pride. And that's just inherent. That doesn't mean there's a better way where that doesn't, the devil will try to sell you something where, that God is a tyrant and he's the bad guy. Like, I can't believe that there are these religions that where the creator is the bad person and you now have to revolt against him. Like, I can't even imagine that energy. That sounds so anxious and stressful. Like, the amount of resources and resolve and hubris and I mean, even if you were to take that on its face and say, okay, that is so stressful to think that you're going to be able to, like, overthrow the creator. Like, that the creator created you, but he doesn't have any other advantage beyond being in charge. He can't just, like, end you at a moment's notice. He can't just, like, stop your cells from coming together and just make you a mist. Like, and that's because people take God's nature for granted. They really think that peace and love and joy is just out here for everybody, and it's just a natural byproduct. That's you. That's you doing that. And uh and even if it was just you doing that, it has nothing to do. That's just, it has nothing to do with how, like, who created me and all that stuff. I just exude it. It's just like the guy in the who made everything and is also in charge is going to win every time. And you should just side with him because that's just the better idea. You cannot beat him. He's letting you make this decision right now. He's giving you time to change your mind. Really. Like, it's just, I mean, wait till the devil's in charge of this whole shebang, and then see which side you want to be on after that. It's like, yeah, you get to do all of the gross things that appeal to your flesh, the things that, but you won't have access to all that other stuff that helps you take the edge off of that. It's like when eat, you eat too much or you eat the wrong things, and then your body like purges that, and then you feel better, and then you go back to that thing. And then you just have to, everyone has to wait until you decide, like, I can't do this cycle anymore. But it's like, you taking your body for granted. Your body is doing that whole system. Your body is designed. And when you go against its design, it has ways of dealing with that and absorbing that. And it doesn't yell at you, it doesn't nag you, it doesn't threaten you with violence. So you just take it for granted that it's there and that it is always going to be there, and you did the whole thing and you just can do that forever. Just like people who think, when they're in their 20s and they can just live that way forever. And most people, they don't even see the finite nature of that anyway, because they tire of it way longer. Most people do. Whatever they're doing that's unhealthy, they get tired of doing that and then they want to move on to something else. And that is sort of how people live their lives. They sort of anticipate and hope that that whatever they nonsense thing they want to do is a phase, and they can move on to, I mean, that, at least that's the lie that's being told to everybody, that you should go out and live life and prolong childhood till you're 37. Like, because if you're not taking care of anybody else, like, let's face it, that is childhood, period, point blank. It doesn't matter that you're an adult and you have an apartment. Like, so anyways, so I was thinking about that stuff, but I was just thinking about, like, when this rapture thing happens. And I've always kind of been curious about this because obviously the Bible says about how people are going to be marrying and giving in marriage and eating and drinking, and the idea is just going to be a normal day. And he's already sort of prepared us for that. But it's just like, wow, there really is just going to be this end to it. Like, it's just such a bizarre thing. And it's just like, when do you decide to, like, start the wrath? Like, that's so crazy. But then you see something like Sound of Freedom and you see, like, all of the trafficking or whatever. It's like, then you're just like, okay, let's get out of here. Like, what are we waiting on? You see something that terrible and you're like, dude, let's pull these kids out of here. Like, but it's like, he's got to balance it all. He's got to balance it all. Because, I see, like, I'm seeing, like, all of these upcoming events and this and that. And I don't know, there was some movie that was coming out. I was like, dude, the movies are coming out. The people, and hotly anticipated stuff is still all slated. Things are going on. When do you halt at all? When do you just blow the whistle and have everything change? Like, I don't know. It's not really like it's an immense responsibility. I really just can't even fathom it. And, God has been doing it for a long time. So it's just like in the bag, but it's just like, man, When do you decide to, the generation that's becoming an adult, the generation, there's still people being born, there's people that thought they were going to go on and do this and that, it's just weird. Just like, wow, it's just right going to be smack in the middle of everything. It's just everything's going to change. Um, and even like this whole Ninth of Awe situation, which is, next Wednesday, looking more and more like the day. I just watched a thing about how they're having some UFO conference thing on July 26th. Like, it was in the news, and the way that they just kept repeating the date, it was just really bizarre. And it wasn't necessarily about UFOs. It was like the way that they worded it. It was like flying phenomenon, or it was like it wasn't UFO. It was something like flying objects. And it was like the idea of mass flying objects, or I don't know, the phenomenon of flying things. I don't know. It was the way that they worded it was just like, and they just kept saying July 26th, and I was just like, bro, are we finna like leave? Like, that's insane. Um, but yeah, I've just been thinking about that, and I still believe that whatever day it's going to be, even if it's not, this coming Wednesday, it will be a feast day or a significant day uh, that God has already laid out. Not only because literally every single thing, if you go back in history and look and research, every single thing that God has ever done has been on a significant uh, either feast or um, otherwise noted day. Um, Particularly the Ninth of Av, being a day where a lot of bad things happened in Israel, namely the destruction of both the first and second temple, uh, among other things. And I watched kind of some interesting videos from a Jewish perspective on this day. And just that whole period, because it's a whole period of time that's, I don't know, maybe the closest thing we would have something like Lent or something, where you're just reflective, and it's about mourning, and they don't even they don't understand why they do it. It's really, really interesting to see that. Like, and it's crazy to think like you can look at like this 6,000-year-old thing and be like, that's not what this is. But like the spirit knows everything. So you're just like, bro, y'all don't even know why y'all are doing this right now. So anyway, but also there's a feast of new wine that happens around this time. So it's very symbolic, and that's really what's making me think that this is going to be the day. Aside from the lineups and the this and the that and the world events and the things going on and everything lining up to what Jesus has said before, and the meeting of 10, world leaders talking about 7-year covenants and all of this stuff. It's like God is always doing things. He loves puns. And the reason he loves puns is because puns are about multiple meanings using the same word. It gets you thinking. It's a message. Everything he does has to be a message. And so if we're gone, the message isn't for us. We don't need the message. Us leaving can't just be like a where did everybody go? And everybody's just puzzled and going, what? It can't just be this random day. It can't be this, one person was in the was working, two people working in the field, and one is left and the other is gone. And it gives the connotation that it's a random day, but it can't be, because God is always trying to get our attention and always trying to talk to us and tell us what the deal is and what really matters. So the day in and of itself will be a message. And I think that he could, if it's Feast of Trumpets, which everybody likes that one too. Everybody likes that, and which is in September. But I really think it would be this Ninth of Awe thing, because this is the day the first temple was destroyed. This is the day the second temple was destroyed. And the second temple was destroyed after, in 70 AD, 40 years after Jesus died. And if you look in the historical record of the second temple, when they tried to continue doing sacrifices after Jesus' death, it was just a lot of weird stuff going on for 40 years until that temple was destroyed. So, which is obviously for all of us is a sign that that God's like, hey, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore. I done told you. I done sent who I was sending, and he was the whole point of everything y'all was doing. And then Jesus comes, and then they crucify him. Now they want to get super into how everything goes. It's like, no, the way that you show out that you're into how everything goes is you accept the perfect lamb that I sent. He's how everything goes. But they didn't get that. They didn't get the message. So they just been wandering. And I feel like if we leave on the 9th of Ab, because yeah, it's a message for anybody, for the Christians to wake up, and we're in America and we're focused on Christendom and we're focused on Americans and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, the believers, the lukewarm Christians, they need, and that was, but this is for the people of God. This is for the Jews, because, and I think it's going to be on a day where the third temple is destroyed, or is changed at the very least, because we became the temple of God when the Holy Spirit came. And literally, that whole tabernacle situation, when I started researching that, and it really just like gave me chills thinking about, the lamps being lit in the Holy of Holies, and literally tongues of fire, which is what a candle, that a candle flame is called. It's a tongue of flame. So you got these tongues of flame landing on believers during Pentecost. It's like, hello. So I just think that this is going to cause them to be able to really, those that belong to God, to really put this together and be like, 9th of Av, guys. Like, and then the new wine, like Jesus going into this whole thing, like they asked him about something and he just started going on and on about new wine, and not, you can't put new wine in old wineskins because they'll burst. You need new wine for new wineskins. And it's like, okay, right? And he's like, yeah. They're like, okay. Like, what was he talking about? So I just think we're looking for a puzzle piece in the natural, but it's such a puzzle piece in the spiritual as well, that I'm just like, if this ain't it, then I'm just going to eat my own foot, because I just don't understand anymore. So I forget what Feast of Trumpets is about, but I don't know. To me, it's not as strong of a message. And I really just feel like the point of the rapture, aside from getting us out, is leaving a message for the people who remain, and giving everybody this sort of last chance to be a part of this amazing, amazing thing. Um, because God is always about giving people chances, and that's another thing why people need to believe in the pre-trib rapture. It's like, this is about God. This is not about us escaping. It's like, we just want to leave. Oh, you don't want to go through anything. It's like, bro, he's trying to get as many people as possible. And if he waits till the very end, then he can't, then there's a bunch of people that he won't be able to get, that he could have got if something very sobering and crazy happened. If he does a very overt display right before the end of the end of the end of the end, and people realize right then, like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of this. I want to go. I don't want to be here. It's like, well, that time has passed, but you still have a chance. 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 Okay, now the two witnesses came. You still have a chance. You still have a chance. You still have a chance. Okay, 144,000. Okay, millennial reign. Like, who knows? He might still be giving out chances once Jesus literally comes back and it just has a big old war with, who knows? So, yeah, that's what I think is going on. And these people who are having near death experiences where they're seeing people in hell that are still on the earth. Like, that's another thing that I haven't talked about. But that's something I've seen more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, of people seeing their family members in hell already. And then they wake up and they go, I saw you in hell, blah, blah, blah. And that person changes their life, typically. So this whole thing is very, we're just given, we just gotta, um, there's the things that we believe and the things that we try to fit solidly in our brains so that we can tell other people. And then there's actual, what it actually is. And sometimes they line up great and sometimes not. And we have to be willing to just kind of let the truth wash over us and be like, wait, what? Um, yeah, so I think that's all I was thinking about today. So, yeah.